Hi Year 9 and welcome to part 2 of this lesson. So now we have a plan. What we want to do is apply that to some of these quotations and look at how we can write about the effect of language. So first of all, I'm going to model for you how I could write this. You can see that I've given myself the what already for this quotation from War Photographer, and then some sentence stems to help me write about the how. So you do not need to write anything at this point, you just need to be really focused, please, and listening to my explanation. So I'm going to model how I would go about this before you have a go at following the same process. Okay, so I have here that quotation, his hands that did not tremble then, those seem to now. So my quotation has been chosen, that's step 1, and I've selected the verb here, tremble, so that's step 2. Step 3 then is going to be explaining that word, and we said that the first reason were the things I associated with it. So I'm going to say that the poet describes the war photographer's reaction. His hands did not tremble then, though seem to now, as he processes the images of war at home in his dark room. In particular, the use of the word tremble is significant because. So here I need to give a reason why. So I'm going to use the first of my notes and say, well, because it tells us that he is shaking involuntarily. Okay, so that's my first one here. So I'm using that reason 1, okay, to explain the significance of this. In fact, I'm going to go a step further with this and then link it to some feelings. So one associates the word with which feelings? Feelings of fear and anxiety. And then I can say, well, how does this link? If I go then to my next step, step 4, how does this then link to the thing being described? Well, in this case, we're describing the war photographer. So it suggests that the war photographer is, well, let's link it to his feelings. I think he's terrified at the moment in which he's about to relive and see again the images and photos he's taken. So he's terrified as the images of war are revealed. And even perhaps he's really suffering trauma and perhaps suffers from PTSD. Okay, so now, if I move that up slightly, I can focus on the final stage. So this was my third reason, what it might make the reader feel, and I'm going to use the word it may here because I'm suggesting it. I don't know that for certain, so I'm being a little bit tentative. Might or may is a good word choice. This may make the reader feel, okay, I said in my plan empathy, didn't I? So empathy for the war photographer, for them, and I need to say why. Okay, again, important that we explain each time, so a because can be used here, because they are impacted or affected by the horror witnessed as part of their job. Okay, I'll just move all that around a little bit so we can see it all on the same slide. Okay, so let's look at that all together now. Can you see here that by just focusing on the one word, I'm trying to clearly explain as much as possible, working through my plan, through my 3 reasons, okay? And that will give me then a really precise how the poet here has communicated an idea through language choice. Okay, you do not need to write this one, so let's look at having a go at this step yourself and applying it. Okay, so I have chosen for you the quotation "Into the Jaws of Death," a reminder that this comes from the poem The Charge of the Light Brigade. I've given you the what, So that sentence at the top, you'll need to copy that out in full. The poet describes the soldiers galloping into the jaws of death when describing the valley that they charged along. Okay, so in a moment you're going to copy that in full, and then you're going to work through the process again. So going through, in particular, the word jaws, explain to me why it's significant and what we associate the word with, those feelings. Okay, how does this link back to the valley? What does it help us to understand about the place the soldiers are riding into? And then finally, link it to the reader. What kind of feelings might they have at this stage and why? What I have included here is my notes, my plan at the side, so you can use some of the wording from that if you wish to. Remember, you have your plan too, so you can be looking to that to guide you. And you might wish, okay, just to carefully proofread this as well, making sure that you've got full sentences, that you're not just copying words straight from your plan and it doesn't make sense. You want it to read really fluently. So I'm going to suggest you pause the video and you spend no longer than 10 minutes writing this out, okay, and explaining how meaning is conveyed through this quotation. Off you go. Okay, so if you're carrying on now, that means your 10 minutes is up. Please do not worry. If you didn't quite get to the end of that, I'm going to show you my example now, so you can check your work against it and borrow any bits if you wish to. Okay, so I had written here that the poet describes the soldiers galloping into the jaws of death when describing the valley they charged along. In particular, the use of the word jaws is significant because it implies the soldiers are charging into an extremely dangerous situation. One associates the word with a mouth, perhaps that of a large predator devouring its prey. And this suggests that the valley is deadly. It's also inescapable, which makes the reader feel a sense of sadness at the inevitable loss of life and the futility of the mission. Okay, so now is your chance to magpie and steal a few things for your response if you wish to. So you can pause the video, check your answer, and change anything if you wish. 2 minutes only though, please. Okay, so let's do this again. We know that practice makes perfect, and you are doing really well so far. So this time we'll go to the brilliant poem, Bayonet Charge. We're going to focus on that really powerful and emotive final line, his terror's touchy dynamite. We'll do the same again. We're going to copy the what statement at the top, and we're going to practice using those sentence stems to explain the how. Remember, you can use your plan and any notes from my plan that's at the side here, and spend 10 minutes on this task. Pause the video, and off you go. Okay, so well done. Remember that in checking this, you want to make sure that you have zoomed in on the word, you've explained clearly why it's significant, i.e. what connotations and ideas, feelings you associate with it. But you're then going to think about linking it back to the thing being described, that's our soldier, and why that might be important. And finally, back to the reader, what's the effect and the impact on us? How are we perhaps positioned to feel about the soldier at this point in the poem? You may wish to swap your work with somebody else at this stage to have a read through, okay, and check that they have followed each of the stages, looking out for the really good things that they have done. If you're working at home, you're working independently, that's going to be less easy to do. So the final task that I would like you to do and everyone to do at the end is to think about the process that you've gone through today. Okay, so you've been focusing on that big question, how can I precisely explain the effect of writer's language choice? So I'd like you now to create for yourself in your book a 5-step plan. I've done the first one for you, that was choosing the evidence from the text, the quotation. So what was important in step 2? What did we have to select? In step 3, what were you being asked to explain? And continue do the same for steps 4 and 5. Okay, you can pause the video and complete that now, please. Okay, and our final bit of checking today then is back to that 5-step process. Check your answers against what I have here. If you've missed anything, now's your chance to add it in. And really well done for today. If you're working at home, please do not forget to take a picture of your work and upload it to Show My Homework. Thanks everyone, and have a good day. Bye.